What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz here for AEW Rampage and SmackDown review for May 20th, 2022. We are on the road to Double or Nothing coming to you next week, as well as on the road to Hell in a Cell, which is coming in to you in a couple weeks. So, as we start, we're going to start with AEW Rampage, which was on at 7 o'clock tonight instead of 5:30, which it will be 5:30 next week, but it will be live. So it'll be very interesting to see how well that goes with a live Rampage 5:30. Tonight's show had the Owen Hart Foundation Women's Tournament quarterfinal match. Chris Statlander versus Red Velvet. Very good match. I'm going to have to talk about that in a minute. Fuego del Sol, Evil Uno, and 10 versus Sean Spears versus Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews. Sean Spears versus a Giant making his debut, and showing up on national television for the first time since being released by WWE, hint, hint. And in the main event, the Blackpool Combat Club versus Dante Martin and Matt Sydal. Speaking of the Blackpool Combat Club, Wheeler Yuta, as you know, is in Japan, wrestling the Best of the Super Juniors, and he ended up winning his second match on the show. He did lose to Robbie Eagles in his first, but he did win the second match of his part of the tournament. Good luck to Wheeler Yuta. I don't see him winning the Best of the Super Juniors, but I could see him winning a couple matches as it goes on. So, we had the House of Black versus Ken, Uno, and Fuego del Sol. Now, this match here was okay. I mean, it was a pretty fun opening trios match. Obviously, it's just to get more stock into the House of Black, who are going on to Double or Nothing to take on the Death Triangle. As we all know, Tony Khan has tag team champions for the trios already made, already ready to come out, but they were waiting for one Kenneth Omega to come back to have a proper tournament so you could have the Undisputed Elite versus the Elite versus and whoever else. So we're all waiting on that. Now, I don't get what this whole entire thing between House of Black and Fuego is. I don't get what Fuego is trying to prove going up against the House of Black, because he's going to get beat every single time. I guess he is the certified jobber of AEW, so he needs to go out there and try and just get absolutely destroyed by the likes of Malachi and company. So, King Uno start out. Uno chops is immediately shrugged off by King. Uno manages a head scissors takedown, but King overpowers him on a shoulder tackle attempt and brings him into his corner. Black tags in. Black then pelts and beats up Uno. But Uno retaliates with a shoulder tackle and tags in 10. 10 hits Black with an overhead belly-to-belly suplex. He sends Black into his corner. Black fights out of it and locks in a heel hook. 10 manages to escape from the chops, and Fuego tags himself in, which, on further inspection, it did look like that took 10 by surprise. He was doing his thing, and he was, holding his own, and then Fuego decided he was going to tag in because he's the one that's coming after Malachi Black and them, and he wants to be the one to beat down and get the win on a Malachi Black. So, yeah. They just beat the hell out of him. This was Fuego gets his ass kicked for the rest of the match type of deal, because he is just out there getting beat to within an inch of everything in between. Eventually, he's able to get the other guys in. So, like I said, the majority of this match was Fuego takes the brunt of the offense. He is the small guy, so you're gonna have to see him get beat up time and time again, just wanting the fans to hold him up and try and get him and rally him around. But Uno hits a low drop kick on King as he follows up with a series of kicks to King's jaw. Uno sets up King but can't lift him and gets back body drop. 10 and Fuego try to run him, but King quickly dispatches them both. King catches Uno into the big lariat. The Ganso Bomb, which is brutally nasty. I think, the first time I saw the Ganso Bomb was at the Capital Collision when he took on Minoru Suzuki. And he hit Minoru Suzuki with the Gonzo Bomb, and I just holy shit. He is it looks like he's drilling them with a nasty looking power driver. That gets the 1, the 2, and the 3. And that was that. After the match, we had As Triangle's music hits, they come out and we see a coffin. We see a coffin, not a coffin, but a tombstone just out there, just covered up. We don't know what's going on here. They come out. They strut they show themselves off. They go to the back, except for Penta. Penta stays there, grabs this cloth, and lifts it up, and it says House of Black, and then it has Double or Nothing on the logo. So it will be House of Black versus the Death Triangle at Double or Nothing. Should be a really fun, good match here. Can't wait to see these two teams go out there and just beat the bejesus out of each other, because you know they're going to. And that is how that all went. Hope whatever they're doing with Fuego is done and over with, because they don't really need it. Lexington is backstage with the Gun Club and Max Caster. She tossed the clip on Dark Elevation when Anthony Bowens was injured. Billy says he hopes Bowens gets well soon so they can all have a scissor party. Apparently, Anthony Bowens had to get his knee scoped or something, so he is out for now. Speedy recovery 2-1 Anthony Bowens is all I can say on that. So, yeah. I don't know where they're going to go with this for there, but yes, Anthony Bowens, quick recovery, and hope everything goes good. So we go backstage to FTR with Tony Schiavone, and they heard Rocky Romero and them talking about what they want to do. They want to get a tag team title opportunity for those Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships. And people were wondering, yeah, we're going to get this match, but when are we going to get it? That is going to be this coming Wednesday night. We're gonna get Roppongi Vice versus FTR. FTR said, you guys try to make a joke out of this, but this is how I make my money. This is how I survive with my family. So this coming Friday, this Wednesday, we're going to give you, we're gonna make you take this seriously, or to give you a serious beatdown. Guys, out. That should be a good match for Wednesday night. I mean, Tony Khan needs to do one thing, and I complained about this. He needs to stop giving us so much. You don't have to make every episode a pay-per-view match, a pay-per-view quality show. Let these shows breathe, man. You have the second semifinals for the men, one of the semifinals for the women's in the Owen Hart Cup on Wednesday. You have Wardlow versus Shawn Spears in a cage match. You don't need much more. FTR versus Rocky Romero and versus Roppongi Vice could be from 2 weeks from now. You don't have to cram so much content into one show. Let this stuff breathe, man. And honestly, I don't think it should happen this Wednesday anyway, because this Wednesday is the go-home show to the big pay-per-view. The only things we should be seeing is stuff that has to pertain to the pay-per-view. You got Owen Hart matches. Okay, that's fine. Those go towards the pay-per-view. You got Wardlow versus Shawn Spears inside a cage. That leads to the pay-per-view. Fine. But we don't need to see Roppongi Vice on this show. Leave it for another day. Leave it for, I wouldn't even say Rampage. I'd say give us a couple week build on this. Don't just say, well, we're just going to give it to you because we want to. No. We need these shows to start breathing a little bit. Come the hell on. That is just you don't need to do this much. You don't. I don't understand why you have to go out there and just throw everything out as if we're having a big freaking pay-per-view every single time. So, Shawn Spears comes to the ring, and he's supposed to be going up against a giant. This man is a giant. The man is Big Damo, former Killian Dane of NXT, and the short little run he had on the main roster in Sanity. But I wouldn't even call him a giant. He's a big dude. Don't get me wrong, Damo's a big dude, but he's not a giant. A giant would be like Lance Archer, Hikuleo, Wardlow, and to a lesser extent, Brian Cage. Guys who are like, you gotta be like, he's not a giant, in my opinion. He is not. So this was just a basic old squash match. Big Damo got a little bit of offense in, but in the end, he got knee to face, ate the C4, 1, 2, 3. Anybody think it was surprisingly quick, you are ridiculous, because they're just trying to build him up as the Giant Killer as he goes on to take on Wardlow on Wednesday night. After the match, he gets on the mic and says, Wardlow, he's Wardlow's kryptonite. He said he's Wardlow's kryptonite and he's going to beat him inside that steel cage. So, like I said, they were just building this guy up to be the guy. He's gonna get beat by Wardlow on Wednesday night. We know that. Backstage, the Undisputed Elite, Adam Cole was feeling like he versus Kyle O'Reilly is the fight on the Earl Hurt, and it's a pretty safe bet. And they say it's gonna be an honor. Like, Kyle O'Reilly does make a joke about the finger poke of doom, because yeah, that's something that we need to see. But I get it. And then Young Bucks lay down the challenge. They challenge the Hardys for a match at Double or Nothing. And it was made official later in the show that we will get the Hardys versus the Young Bucks at Double or Nothing. So I am looking forward to that, just to see it get it done and over with. What are you guys looking forward to? Let me know about that in the comment section below. Owen Hart Cup Foundation Women's Tournament Quarterfinal Red Velvet with the baddie Kiera Hogan and Jade Cargill versus Chris Statlander, Ruby Soho, who is on commentary, because she will be facing the winner of this next Friday at 5:30 Eastern Time. So there's that. So Chris Statlander showing off her power in this match. Statlander powers Velvet into the corner. Velvet climbs to the second rope. Statlander brings her out with her into a press. She has her into the position of a press slam. But then goes one arm, holding her by the midsection, just flexing. I don't care who the person is up top. That takes some strength. Velvet goes for a head scissor, but Statlander overpowers her again. Velvet goes to the floor. Statlander tries to follow with a baseball slide dropkick, but Velvet pulls the ring apron and catches her and hits her a couple times in the back. Jericho awards Red Velvet with the Sports Entertainer of the Week award. Good for her. Velvet goes for a crossbody off the apron, but Statlander catches her and tosses her back into the ring as we go to picture-in-picture break. Back from break, Statlander hits a running boot with a German suplex. Velvet kicks out at 2. Statlander hoists Velvet up for a delayed vertical suplex, but Velvet knees Statlander in the head to escape. She hits the final slice, but Statlander kicks out and that is probably the first time somebody has kicked out of the final slice. I don't like it because it hasn't been built up as a big deal. Velvet misses a punch, and Statlander hits the Blue Thunder Bomb 1-2 kick out. I really want somebody to take the Blue Thunder Bomb as their finisher. I really do. Velvet retreats for the ring apron and pulls Statlander's neck over the top rope. She hits a pair of running knees and plants Statlander face first for a near fall. Velvet tries for the spinning kick, but Statlander blocks it and goes in for the Big Bang Theory. Velvet reverses it into a roller, but Statlander reverses that and gets the pinfall win. Statlander moves on. After the match, Cargill and Hogan attacks Statlander. Here comes Ruby Soho to make the save. Well, Kiera Hogan attacked. Ruby Soho made the save. And Cargill came in, and then Anna Jay came in to chase them all off. So that's going to lead to Anna Jay versus Jade Cargill for the TBS Championship at Double or Nothing. Not looking forward to that match, not at all. See a video package of Tony Lee, Smoke Sterling, and Danhausen and Hook as well. Training, I don't really care. After the ring, Ethan Page, Scorpio Sky, and Dan Lambert are ready to speak. Sky wants Sammy Guevara to bring his TNT Championship belt back. And we get a video outside the arena with Guevara and Tay Conti. He wants the title match against Sky. Lambert declines, so Guevara says, you know what, I would never do anything to this championship, but my friend, this little big slant champion here, has a different story. And he just attacks the TNT Championship belt. Frankie Kazarian enters and he smashes the belt as well. It looks like we're going to be getting a new version of the TNT Championship because AEW just loves changing their championships around for whatever reason. Now, I know when they went from the red belt to the black belt, it was in memory of Brody Lee because they gave the red belt to Brody Jr. Why are you changing the belt? What's wrong with the TNT Championship the way it is? Maybe it's because Sammy Guevara and Tay Conti said that they fucking had sex with it or something, or it became a cum dump or something. I don't know. But why are we absolutely just killing the TNT Championship? It just feels like they do not even care about this title. It just, I don't know. Making Sammy Guevara trying to have Sammy Guevara as a babyface was a massive mistake, in my opinion. It really was. But we'll see this backfire on them, and they'll have to deal with it. So, we go from that. Tony Schiavone in backstage with the Faker and Tony Storm, chatting about the upcoming semifinal match, and Tony Storm says they are better be no funny business from Jamie Hayter or Rebel, or she'll knock all of her teeth down her throat and be her DMD. And that shut the bitch up because she just walked away in disgust. Probably because Tony Schiavone did it with her. I found hilarious. So yeah, all I gotta say, and I'll say it again. Tony Storm wins next week, or you fucked up this entire women's tournament, and it's obvious who Tony Khan's booking to win the tournament. That's all I gotta say about that. Tony Storm wins on Wednesday, or the women's Owen Hart Cup tournament is nothing but a fucking waste of time, plain and simple. Mark Henry's chatting up with the participants in tonight's main event. Dante wants a signature win. Matt Sydal wants to prove violence isn't the only answer. It's love and happiness in love and wrestling or something, which Jon Moxley says. They didn't really say that. Love and peace, I'm sorry. Love, peace, and wrestling. Danielson loves violence in pro wrestling. Jon Moxley says he and Danielson are teachers, and the most important lesson is abandon all hope when facing the Blackpool Combat Club. Next Wednesday, we have Samoa Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly. I'm picking Kyle O'Reilly because of the fact that if it was Samoa Joe versus Kyle O'Reilly, 100% it's a 50-50 shot. We take this coin here, and you sit there and you would flip this like 30 times and come up with different answers. But the fact that they took a steel pipe, like Satman Singh, Jay Lethal, and Sonya Dutt took a steel pipe to Samoa Joe's arm, tells you all you need to know who's winning that match. Owen Hart Cup Tournament semifinal: Tony Storm versus the Faker. Hangman Adam Page and CM Punk will be face to face. Steel cage match: Shawn Spears versus Wardlow, special guest referee. Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships with Punk and Vice versus FTR. Jungle Boy versus Strickland versus Ricky Starks. On Rampage, semifinals: Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. And 3 matches official for Double or Nothing: Anna Jay and Jerry Cargill. Young Bucks versus the Hardys, and Death Triangle versus House of Black. It is something to behold. Listening to Excalibur on commentary go through all these stuff at like a breakneck speed. I know Brian Alvarez makes like jokes about it and everything, but like my goodness, this guy, like I'm sitting there and I'm like, dude, breathe, Excalibur, breathe. Dude is just like going through this stuff at a breakneck speed, and it's like, goddamn, dude, just breathe. Yeah. We have this match here, and Danielson starts off with Martin beats upon him for a few moments before tagging in Moxley, who hits a running kick for a 1 count. Moxley follows up with a vertical suplex for a 2 count. Moxley tags in Danielson. Danielson goes for the work on Martin's leg and works into a surfboard. Danielson pounds on the back of Martin's neck and tags in Moxley. Moxley lands some punches on Martin in the corner and leans in on him with the knee to his face. Moxley misses a charge and Martin tags in Sydal. Sydal hits a leaping spinning kick on Moxley. Hits a slicing reverse DDT and standing twisting moonsault for a 2 count. Moxley catches Sydal and hangs him up on top of the rope. He sends Sydal to the outside, and Danielson hits a knee from the ring apron as we go to picture-in-picture. Back from break, Martin is running wild. He hits a dive to the floor on both Danielson and Moxley. Back in the ring, he hits a crossbody from the top rope on Danielson. Moxley breaks up the pinning attempt. Moxley takes down Sydal on the floor with a rear naked choke in the ring. Danielson hits a double underhook suplex from Martin on Martin. From the top rope, Danielson puts Martin in the LeBell Lock. I was literally here with my phone about to write up something on social. I was like, and the LeBell Lock gets the win, but no, Martin fights back and gets his foot on the rope. There's like 5 minutes left in the show, so I was like, maybe we'll get that. We'll talk about that here in a second. We'll get that brawl that happened at the end, but no. Like I said, we'll talk about that here in a minute. Danielson Fosworth kicks to Martin's chest and tags in Moxley. Moxley hoists up Martin, but Sydal intercepts Danielson in the spinning kick. Sydal with a meteor on Danielson. Danielson on the ring apron. Martin hits the nosedive on Moxley, but Danielson is able to break up the pin just barely. Martin tries to follow up, but Moxley catches him with a springboard rear naked choke. Martin rolls back into a pinning attempt and Moxley has to break the hold. Moxley catches Martin with a power driver for a big near fall. Moxley grabs Martin and rains down some elbow strikes and follows up with a Death Rider for the 1, 2, 3. He hits that as Moxley hit the Death Rider as Danielson was holding and had Sydal in a rear naked choke and was giving him the elbows. After the match, a big brawl happens between the Jericho Appreciation Society, Danielson, Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Santana, and Ortiz. And the show goes off the air with them brawling. Now, they did show on YouTube, and you can find it on YouTube, what happened with Danielson's leg being caught in between the road, in between the stage and the ring. First off, I don't ever want to see a stage like this again, because this was fucking stupid. Second off, they did not plan this. Danielson was caught. I don't think he was in a threatening position, because obviously I think he played it up a bit. This should have never happened, because you're one move or one thing away from him being hurt, and he's out of the match, and now you have 5-on-4 advantage because Wheeler Yuta can't be called in because he's in Japan. He can't make a trip here for next Wednesday and then go back and do that. So yeah, and that would look very, and like New Japan Pro Wrestling will look down on that, because when you do the Best of Super Juniors or the G1 for the heavyweights, you're there for the entirety of the time. They don't want to see anybody leaving unless, of course, a major injury happens. So, I hope everything's alright with Danielson. He did get out. Everyone was able to get him out, and he did limp a little bit. So, as far as we know, he is fine, but Danielson is what it is. Before we get to SmackDown, we need to talk about what happened with Naomi and Sasha Banks. Now, as you know, Naomi and Sasha Banks took their women's tag team titles, dropped them onto John Laurinaitis' desk, and walked out of the building. Good on them. Now, I've seen a lot from both sides. Of people who are defending Sasha Banks and those who are vilifying Sasha Banks. Nobody's saying much of anything to Naomi. Of course, Ariana Andrews, a.k.a. Cameron, came out and was like, oh, Naomi wouldn't do this on her own. Sasha Banks must be manipulating her because Sasha Banks is evil. No. Naomi is old enough. She is an adult. She is an adult woman who can make up her own mind. So, also it came out that both of the contracts are apparently up very, very soon. So maybe that played a role into this. First off, Naomi's not going to, Trinity Fatu, a.k.a. Naomi, is going absolutely nowhere unless she wants her contract to run out. This woman is married to Jimmy Uso. She will probably, if everything goes the way, goes the correct ways, her and Sasha Banks are done. She's going to turn heel. She's going to go join the Bloodline. She's going to win the SmackDown Women's Championship. She's going to win the Raw Women's Championship. She's going to unify them, and there you go. But she's bulletproof. She figured, I'm married to Jimmy. Jimmy is going to be winning the Raw Tag Team titles either tonight or at Hell in a Cell. I'm married into the family that they don't want to piss off, and if you piss one of us off, you piss all of us off. So yeah, I'm bulletproof, so I can take a stand for myself because the creative was fucking stupid. They wanted Naomi to win, and then go to Hell in a Cell to lose to Bianca Belair, while holding one half of the women's tag team titles. On the reverse end, they wanted Sasha Banks to go to SmackDown tonight, start an angle with Ronda Rousey, and have her go out there and lose to Ronda Rousey, and while holding the tag team titles. Why would either one of them be happy about that? And I don't give a shit what anybody wants to say. Should they have, in my opinion, they should have left before the show started. I thought they left before the show started. That's what I was under the impression, because they left before the show started. But no, they should have left before the show started. As soon as, an hour or so before the show, they should have left. And, whatever. If it would have been me, I would have did the match, and I would have had Nikki or Piper go over. If I was them, I would have did this whole thing up where it's Nikki or Piper has one of them pinned, and the other one is supposed to break up the pin, but they don't get there in time, and Nikki or Piper would have got the title match. But, they stood their ground. And this is the fucked up thing. Yes, I've seen a lot of people comparing this to how WWE treated the whole Toni Storm situation. The fact that they didn't, They didn't publicly bury Toni Storm on TV. They didn't publicly bury Toni Storm and try and vilify Toni Storm. They just said, nope, here's your release, goodbye. Two things about that. One, that just shows you how little they actually value Toni Storm. They let Toni Storm, asked for her release, and they said, well, goodbye, that's one person we're not to deal with. Yet, Sasha Banks and Naomi both get up and walk away. And they put out a statement that is 100%, 50% false. There were people who were friends with them who've come out and said that there was nothing about them saying they were uncomfortable with working with any of those women in the ring. And you're sitting there thinking, who could it be? Becky is one of the 4 horsewomen. Sasha Banks has worked a ton with her. Asuka, I guarantee you, Sasha Banks adores working with Asuka. And Piper Niven and Nikki Trash were in the match with them the previous week. So WWE went out there to try and vilify these women as much as possible. And then you had Corey Graves on Monday Night Raw bury them by saying they were unprofessional and everything else. And everybody who is sitting there crapping on Corey Graves, you need to get a life. Corey Graves does not have a mind of his own when it comes to commentary. He goes out there, he puts his headset on, he gets told what to say. He doesn't question it, he just says it. Same thing with Michael Cole tonight. Michael Cole was out there saying what he was told to say. And honestly, if you look at it, it looked like Michael Cole was very uncomfortable even having to say the words that came out of his mouth. But Michael Cole is a good boy, and he's not going to go against Vince McMahon's wishes. They were suspended indefinitely. They tell you that later on tonight. And here's the fucked up thing. Michael Cole was instructed to say they are going to hold a women's tag team tournament to determine new women's tag team titles. One question. Who the fuck are your tag teams? Shayna Baszler and Natalya? That's not a tag team. That's 2 singles women's put together. Nikki Trash and Bianca and Piper Niven. That's not a women's tag team. They were just smushed together. If Naomi was able to come back after a couple weeks or so and everything cools down and she's back, if you wanted to bring Cameron back and have Cameron and Naomi be together, that's sort of a tag team because they were the Funked Actors. Have nobody. Do us a favor and just take the tag team titles and deactivate them. If you want the women's division to have more championships than a singles title, make a women's intercontinental or women's United States championship, something like that. Because the women's division, you have no tag teams. Sasha Banks and Naomi walked out because they were standing up for themselves. But I find it kind of funny how fans are like, man. You hear stories from Jon Moxley and Karrion Kross and others who leave and go on to do other things. How shitty they were treated, how WWE did everything to bury them, and people always talk about how if you stood up for yourself, maybe you would have had a better run. But when 2 women stand up, and I'm not going to go down this route because other people are, because the narrative that's going out there is that they're being treated this way because of the color of their skin. That has nothing to do with it. I understand there are people out there who are going to assume that because that's how they were raised. But it has nothing to do with it. One, they ain't saying... Nobody, as far as I've heard, there is not much going on with something like Naomi. All the heat, all the vitriol, all the anger is all focused on Sasha Banks because this isn't her first time. This is Naomi's first time, and apparently their contracts are coming up, so maybe that had to do something with it. We'll see what happens as we go on. But apparently, in the next 2 months, Sasha Banks and Naomi's contracts are both coming up. And this could have been a big reason why both of these women went out. It's like, listen, we were given these titles. You have no plans for these championships. Our contracts are coming up very soon. So why should we have to stick around and do a bunch of shit that we know is not good for these titles, and we wanted to do something with these titles because you put us in this position if you had no plans for the championships and you wanted... I guarantee you if they weren't the champions, if they did not have those tag team titles, and they were put in that 6-pack challenge, they would have been fine. Naomi would have beat Sasha, Sasha would have went on to face Ronda Rousey, and we wouldn't be talking about any of this. They both would have been on SmackDown this week, and whatever. But the simple fact that you put the tag team titles on them and told them to their faces pretty much that you have no plans you don't give a shit about those titles, you have no plans for them, that's what set them off. Why would you put them in a position that you have no plans to do anything with them? That's the problem that Vince McMahon and his people don't really think through. What else can you say? What else can be said? Hasn't been said. I've heard the text, I've seen the transcripts, I've seen everything. It's just, honestly, if I'm Sasha, if I'm Mercedes, I'm pulling a pack, I'm out of here. I'm pulling a CM Punk, I'm out of here. I'm not coming back because they don't respect you. Just look at her entire 7 years on the main roster. She was supposed to win, if I'm correct. She was supposed to win the Women's Championship at WrestleMania the very first time in 2016, if I'm correct. I believe that was her. It was supposed to be Sasha Banks versus Charlotte 9000, and Sasha Banks was supposed to win. They threw Becky in there because they wanted to have a bigger match. And then Sasha was supposed to win that match, if I am correct. I could be wrong. It was either Becky or Sasha was supposed to win that match, but they went with Charlotte anyway because reasons. Because Charlotte went backstage and whined and complained because she wanted a WrestleMania moment. Fuck everybody else. Then, later that year, she wins the Raw Women's Championship from Charlotte Flair. What happens? They have another match. Charlotte wins it back. They go back and forth for like the next 5 months, changing the championship. And then on her last run in this time, she loses it to Alexa Bliss and just does nothing after that. Then, he and Bayley went to Vince McMahon and badgered him and just talked his ear off, begging and pleading and annoying him to get these tag team titles created. What happened? He said, you know what? Fine, we'll do it. Whatever, we'll get them for you. And then they win the tag team titles. We're promised, we're going to give you a nice, long, lengthy title reign. We're going to let you go out there. You're going to go out there. You're going to go to NXT. You're going to defend the titles in NXT. You even had Sasha Banks and Bayley go to NXT and say, maybe the next time we're here, we'll put these bad boys on the line. That never happened because you go to WrestleMania and you have the two worst women in the company at the time who were a tag team in the tag team titles. Because the plan was to embarrass and bury and make fun of Bayley and Sasha Banks. And then, before that night was after that night was up the next night, the dirt sheets come out with fake news, fake stories that Bayley and Sasha Banks threw a fit, were laying on the mat in the locker room, crying and whining and complaining, which has all been debunked. Anybody trying to still go with that narrative needs to shut the fuck up because you're a goddamn retard. She goes away because she was burnt out. She goes to her mentor, Amazing Red, at House of Glory. She goes other places to try and get back into that mindset of and fall in love with professional wrestling, because you can't fall in love with professional wrestling in WWE because they sap that out of you like that. She comes back, has a killer feud with, she comes back in blue hair, of course, which I was like, really? Blue hair? Either way. She comes back, has a great feud with Becky Lynch. That was the best feud in Becky Lynch's Rampage title run in that year. Then, COVID hits. COVID hits. Her and Bayley make it their mission to make sure this company, they put the company on their back and make Raw and SmackDown worth watching just for them two alone. Their feud with Asuka helped carry that pandemic era of Monday night and Friday night. Wins the Raw Women's title again. Guess what? She loses it in one run. Sasha Banks has never won the Raw Women's title and then successfully defended it. Her longest title reign was her SmackDown Women's Championship reign. Sasha and Bayley win the Women's Tag Team titles again. Lose them again. Bayley turns on Sasha. WWE just took a match to a candle and like to a rocket and shot through that feud and was done with it in no time. She held the women's title for SmackDown after she beat Bayley all the way to WrestleMania and put over Bianca Belair. And WWE, in that entire time, from the time she made her debut to that time until now, never respected Sasha Banks like she does, and never gave her just due like Bayley, Becky, and Charlotte. She is to them, she is the weak link of the Four Horsewomen, even though she is the best wrestler of them all from the Four Horsewomen. Bayley's number 2, Becky's number 3, a very far 3, and Charlotte's number 4 because Charlotte is overrated. I understand. I stand up for the fact that Sasha Banks wanted to walk out, Naomi too, but Sasha should have known the minute they said we're going to put you in a tag team and we're going to give you those tag team titles that they weren't going to do shit with you. She should have seen it coming because they've done it to her before. I hope by the end of the year, Mercedes is no longer in WWE. Do I say she's going to be in AEW? Probably not. Mercedes wants to do other things outside of wrestling. She was in The Mandalorian. She wants to do other stuff like that. She wants to do movies and TV. Having WWE or former WWE talent on your profile is going to help raise her stock if she wants to go out there and get movie opportunities and everything. She can go do that. Maybe she wants to go show up at a House of Glory event and wrestle there for the Amazing Red because that's the person she goes to whenever she's down. Hell, they've even profiled, when she was going up against Ronda Rousey the first time, they even profiled on WWE's social media pages her going to the House of Glory school and working with Amazing Red on getting her mindset right for that match. So it would not surprise me if Mercedes was to eventually get out of her WWE contract and would go other places. She would make a stop in New York and go wrestle for the Amazing Red and House of Glory. Naomi, like I said, she's bulletproof. She's going absolutely nowhere. They don't want to piss the Rock family off. If you piss off Naomi, you're going to piss off Jimmy. You piss off Jimmy, you're going to piss off Roman. If you piss off Roman, you're going to piss off The Rock. And WWE doesn't want to piss off anybody from the Anoa'i family. Plain and simple. So we'll see what happens as the weeks go on. But not much else can be said. Sasha Banks, Naomi. Yeah, it's been that hot topic, and I know there are people out there who want to defend them. I know there's people out there who want to just bitch about it. But hey, you make your own. You go. There's two sides. Either you side with WWE or you side with Naomi and Sasha, or you want to be in the middle, whichever. But pick your side and shut the fuck up about it. We had SmackDown tonight, the winner-take-all tag team title unification match. We do have a unified tag team champions, and I did not expect it to happen tonight. I will say that right now. Did not, in any circumstances, expected the titles to be unified tonight. Plain and simple. It was the main event. I thought we were going to get some kind of fuckery, and then we're going to go to Hell in a Cell and get a tag team title match there, but that did not happen. We will talk about that here later. Actually, no, we can talk about it now because they had the tag team champions and Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, all out here. So they all come out. Roman Reigns says, "Acknowledge me," but tonight is we had Heyman talk first. He says Reigns does get the mic and says, "Acknowledge me," but you not just acknowledge me tonight because tonight is a special occasion. You acknowledge my cousins, who are going to be your unified tag team champions. Heyman takes over and declares Reigns is the greatest of all time. He runs down a list of legends, including Bruno Sammartino, Lesnar, Cena, Rock, Stone Cold, Hulk Hogan, the who's of everybody. And what would happen if you put them all in the ring at the same time? They would get stacked up, smashed, and ended by Roman Reigns. He says he stands in here with direct descendants of Alpha and Sika, the Wild Samoans, but to never unify the tag team titles. So the Usos can become the greatest tag team of all time by doing just that. Reigns takes the microphone and tells the Usos they know what he wants. He has high expectations, and if they don't get the job done tonight, they won't be coming home at all. They hug, and that is that. Sami Zayn is backstage watching with a Bloodline t-shirt on. Goes down the hallway. Back in the arena, Nakamura makes his entrance. The Bloodline is heading up the aisles, and he looks at... He gives a look to Roman Reigns, and then keeps on walking. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sami Zayn. This was a fight. Remember when Sami Zayn and Nakamura had their banger in NXT TakeOver Dallas all those years ago? Yeah, that was a different time. This was a fine match. Sami Zayn doing his same shenanigans, running from everybody, trying to do everything he can to win or lose by running away. But the finish was great because Nakamura gets taken outside the ring and Sami Zayn thinks he's gonna win. Sami Zayn tries to get it, he gets back in the ring. Sami Zayn tries to win the match, but he ends up getting knocked to the outside. Now, Nakamura's back in. He's close to winning by a countout, Nakamura is. Sami Zayn comes in and immediately gets hit with the Kinshasa for the 1, 2, 3. And Sami Zayn gets beat just as he beats the count. What a performance right then and there. I know this stuff, sorry. So, back from break, hold on. Oh boy, Corbin makes his entrance because I want to hear about Happy Talk. I really don't care about Happy Talk, I know him. He shows us a clip of him depilmanizing the neck of Madcap Moss, which news coming out is the reason they did what they did to Madcap Moss is because there was a possibility, and hopefully a high possibility, that this man is going to be going and getting a gimmick change because, good grief, he needs it. He fucking needs it. He does not need to be Madcap Moss anymore. The jokester gimmick needs to die. So, Madcap Moss could be on his way to being called something else Moss. And Corbin, he talks up everything. He says he's the happiest he's been. Destroys the Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy, and that's pretty much it. Let's see here. We have Volta versus Drew Gulak. This match happens because last week Drew Gulak went to Ricochet, and Ricochet tried to, get him hyped up. And he's like, you know what? I'm not going to let Volta knock me over again and beat me up. And he gets beat up. This week, more of the same. He gets chopped. He gets beat up. Powerbomb, 1, 2, 3. Volta beats Drew Gulak and then puts him in the Boston Crab. Ricochet runs down to get these guys aside to leave. So it looks like we are getting Volta versus Ricochet for the Intercontinental title very, very soon. Where Volta will definitely become your new Intercontinental Champion and probably hold that for the rest of his time in WWE before he loses it and then gets fired utterly because you know what's going to happen. Backstage, Adam Pearce gets a visitor in his office. Max Dupree. Not LA Knight, even though it is LA Knight. He's the head of a Maximum Male Models. He says his clients can headline Paris Fashion Weeks or WrestleMania. This is all news to Pearce. Dupree says he was brought in by Sonya Deville before she lost her job as a backstage official. Dupree says they have a signed contract, and that was that. Okay, I don't get why they had to change his name. LA Knight is his NXT name. His real name is not LA Knight. Why is this guy coming out here being called Max Dupree? What was wrong with LA Knight? What was wrong with LA fucking Knight? Nothing. That's it. Nothing. Yeah, WWE and Vince McMahon's got to put their own spin on everything. Guy came to WWE, to NXT. He got a new name. He wasn't Eli Drake anymore. Why did you have to change his fucking name? But Eli Drake, LA Knight, he is so good. He should be able to do what he can to get this over. It all depends on who he's paired with. If he's got Mace and Mansoor, this is going to go nowhere and he's going to be gone. He'll be gone before the end of the year too. I guarantee it. Backstage, Shotzi and Aaliyah are still arguing over how they should have been the ones to challenge Ronda Rousey next. Oh no, I wanted to lose to Ronda Rousey. Oh no, I should have lost to Ronda Rousey. Oh no, I should lose to Ronda Rousey. That's basically what it was because both women were going to get beat. Rodriguez shows up and enters the Shotzi insults her and says that she is going to embarrass her in their match next. Rodriguez comes out smiling. She's got to smile so much that, you know, her face is going to hurt. I got to smile. Smile, smile. Smile, smile. Yeah, I got to smile. Seriously, can we get this woman to stop smiling? I don't know how somebody like her doesn't go out there and come back and her face doesn't hurt with how much fucking fake ass smiling she has to do. Make sure to put a smile on your face, pal. No. This was a squash, pretty much. Shotzi Blackheart gets beat with a twisting Vader bomb into a Chingano bomb for the pinfall. Caleb Black sends back series and Xavier Woods. It shows replays of Pete Dunne's victory over Kofi Kingston. Woods says he's flying solo because Kofi is unofficial New Day business. He encourages Pete Dunne to come here alone. Pete Dunne makes his entrance. This match was mostly through the commercial break. Pete Dunne gets fired up backstage. I'm sorry, wrong. Never mind. We go to commercial break. Pete Dunne's backstage getting cut. He makes his entrance alone. Even though the commentator, for whatever reason, still said that he was being accompanied by Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Which, why did Ridge Holland get to keep his name, but Pete Dunne didn't get to? Can somebody answer me that one? Ridge Holland got to be called Ridge Holland and keep his name, but yet Pete Dunne had to go by... No. Does anybody have the over-under on how many times Pete Dunne, Sheamus, or Ridge Holland has taken on a member of the New Day this year? This is getting kind of tiring. And surprise, surprise, how does Pete Dunne lose again? The backwards, aka the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling, the roll-up. After the match, he leaves to the crowd. Woods celebrates on stage. Sheamus and Ridge Holland enter, but Pete Dunne enters and attacks Woods and lays him out. Sheamus and Ridge Holland hold him back, doing any more damage, and that was that. Bathroom break, and Mega Morant catches up with Xavier Woods. He says Kofi will be back next week, and Big E is still injured, but he'll find a third person for a 6-man tag team match against Holland and Sheamus and Pete Dunne. Then we had Michael Cole on commentary say Sasha Banks and Naomi let us all down. No, that line right there just pisses me off. No, Cole, they didn't let anybody down. If anybody actually thinks that Sasha Banks and Naomi let you down, and you're just a shill who loves kissing Vince McMahon's ass. You're probably one of those guys out there, when Vince McMahon's music hits, you start bowing and singing his song. Fuck that. We cast a statement on Monday Night Raw's events, saying both were suspended indefinitely, and a tournament will be held to crown the new women's tag team champions. Again, who do you have for this tournament? Deactivate the championships. Take those titles, put them in the vault, and never bring them back out. Okay, bro, make their entrances, then come the Usos, we get the ring introductions, and then we have ourselves the match. So, Jimmy locks the chin, he eventually lets it go, the referee throws up the X sign, the ring sign doctor comes in to look at Matt Riddle, and we go to commercial break. We come back, you have yourself a big, huge fight between these two teams. It looks like it's going to go RK Bro's way. Matt Riddle is actually up on top of the ropes with, I think it was Jimmy, for the super avalanche RKO. But Paul Heyman distracts the referee. Roman shows up out of nowhere, holds his cousin down to not allow him to get RKO'd out of nowhere. Big Uso splash. 1, 2, 3. And they actually unified the tag team titles tonight. I was shocked. I so thought Roman Reigns was going to come out, beat up RK Bro, and we were going to get this match in Hell in a Cell. I so thought that was going to happen. They did the beatdown afterwards, as Matt Riddle gets absolutely choked out while the Usos beat up on Randy Orton. Matt Riddle gets taken out by Roman Reigns, and Roman Reigns goes over and takes out Randy Orton as well, leaving. And then Matt Riddle gets put on top of the announce table. One of the Usos goes up, hits the big Uso splash, even though I think he should have went to the other set of ropes because it was actually closer. So when he actually hits Matt Riddle, he actually hits him instead of falling on the table and sliding onto him. And the unified tag team champions and Roman Reigns all hold up all the gold, and that was that. So SmackDown ends with the Usos, the Bloodline, and everyone holding all the important gold. Now all they need is Solo Sikoa to come up and win both the Intercontinental and Raw and United States Championship. And Naomi to come back, beat Ronda Rousey and Bianca Belair, and win all the gold for the Bloodline, which I wouldn't mind that. Even though the Intercontinental title and US title need to stay ununified. Those titles need to stay the way they are. That is your AEW Rampage and SmackDown review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds The France Club, find me on twitch.tv/The France Club, and find me on Instagram at The France Club. And I'll see you guys on Monday for Raw. Until then, my name is The France, and I'll see you guys later.